This story that I'd like to share with you is a story that I think has a really special meaning for the service. Pastor Andrew was to preach today, and he's preaching on Daniel chapter 3, which is about the three Hebrews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, standing in the fiery furnace, and suddenly there is a divine presence with them in the fiery furnace. Okay? And so to match that sermon, I thought, I've got a story that probably would help us a bit here, because it is hard transitioning, hard changing from the view as a child where you only can really understand things that you can touch and feel and smell and eat and so on. As you get older, you suddenly realise, there actually is another dimension of life we can't see. We can't see, for example, in this church, there are heavenly beings, angels, worshipping with us. I remember the first time when I took a story with, well, it wasn't the first time. We had, using the Bible books, My Bible Friends. Any of you know My Bible Friends? No. Okay, we're using the Bible Friends, a story about Daniel in the lion's den. And it finishes by saying, and the angel shut the lion's mouth. And I remember my eldest daughter, who was about your age, I think, at that stage, I said, do you know that we've all got a guardian angel? Oh, yeah, where? And I said, probably sitting there beside you. And she jumped across from where she was sitting because it horrified her to think that there was a guardian angel sitting there beside her. But we have guardian angels, we are told. And so with that in mind, let me tell you this story about someone who had an experience where their eyes were open to see what we normally see. It was 140 years ago in Melbourne at Australia's first camp meeting. For the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And by the way, that would be for all churches because nobody was having camp meetings like the Seventh-day Adventist Church introduced back 140 years ago. And it became a big attraction thing. It actually was in a town, or a suburb I should say, in Melbourne called Brighton. I was actually the pastor of the little church there at one stage. And it was interesting to actually go down and follow up some of the reports in the newspaper about this camp meeting, because they were reporting it. It was just an amazing thing. Nobody had heard or seen this before. And so the camp meeting started, and one of the special speakers at the camp meeting was Mrs. White. And you can imagine some of the things that were being said. For example, one of the things that I read in the newspaper, it said that her voice, no microphones, her voice could be heard way down from where they were at Dendy Street, right down, and that named the other street, which I've just forgotten for the moment, but it was down near where our church was. And they said that her voice could be heard in clear and distinct tones that far away without a microphone. And I measured it, it was over 1 kilometre. That's amazing, isn't it? That a woman like Ellen White, who had had a lot of sickness as a child, could speak and everybody could hear her so far. And that was reported in the newspaper. And so people were turning up everywhere, every night. The big tent that they had, it was filled with people coming in from everywhere because they wanted to hear this person, who was described as a prophet of the church, and her voice carrying so far away. Well, it also attracted some lads who weren't so good. They were up to mischief. And they thought, this is fun. I mean, there were over 100 family tents that were put up. And they thought, let's let down some tents. So they went around letting down some of the family tents. And then they mistakenly made a statement to one of the young men who were marching around the camp trying to keep peace and order, and they had come from, before Avondale University was underway, down in Melbourne in St Kilda, there was a training school college there. And so they got some of the students from this college to come to the campground and patrol it to keep peace and order. Well, all was going well until one of them heard that they're all coming back tomorrow night and they're going to let down the tent of Mrs. White. Well, when the student heard that, he went and reported it to the camp supervisor who was looking after things, and they decided, well, perhaps we better get a policeman here tomorrow night just to look after things. It could turn very sour and not go good. And so they contacted the police station, and from right there in the heart of Melbourne, they sent out big burly policeman. He was a big man, he was an Irish man, he was a Roman Catholic, and that means, and you'll see some of that in a moment, that certain things that Roman Catholics do, he did in this story. And so here he is walking around, marching around the campground, just keeping peace. And it was about 10 o'clock at night when all lights had to be out, no more talking, etc. And this was the time when the young people said they were going to come back and let down the tents, particularly Mrs. White's. And so anyway, while he's just walking around sort of trying to keep things all quiet. It was quiet, there was nothing to do. He kept going past Mrs. White's tent, and that was all fine. And then about midnight, as he went past Mrs. White's tent, he suddenly realised there's a funny light shining above her tent. And he went to investigate what it was, and as he was coming closer, the light changed into the appearance of an angel. And he realised it was a live angel that was being made manifest for him, for his eyes to be able to see. Well, as soon as he realised this was an angel, he did what all good Roman Catholics would do. He dropped to his knees, he crossed himself, because that's what they do before they reverently pray, and he just stood there staring at this angel over a tent, making sure the angel was moving and looking around and everything was just fine. And he just kept staring until eventually he decided, Ellen White doesn't need me. And he got up and he started walking backwards until he disappeared off the campground and went back to the police station. And the policeman in charge, they said, "What are you doing back here so early? It's only just after midnight. You're supposed to be there till the morning." He says, "Ellen White does not need me to look after her. Do you know why? Because there was an angel over her tent." And that's the only picture I could find to illustrate this. It was of a book that had included this story. And there was this angel that appeared over her tent, and it was true. And he said, "I lie not, it was definitely an angel." And they said, "Well, I guess so, and you can go home now." And so off he went home, his night was over. Next morning, and I reckon this is the reason why God allowed the angel to appear so that he saw it. The next morning he decided he wanted to go to this camp to hear and see this woman who has an angel guarding over her. So off to the big camp he goes, there in Brighton, and he attended 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings of Mrs. White over the rest of the days before the camp finished. And before the camp was over, he decided to become a Seventh-day Adventist. All because God opened his eyes and he saw an angel over his tent. And it's hard for us, isn't it, to imagine that this is actually happening. But we all have guardian angels that go with us as we move about the day. And today in our church sermon, we're going to be looking at another story about, you may call it a guardian angel, or you may see it as even somebody more significant than a guardian angel, as a supernatural being who appears in the fire with the 3 Hebrews. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed the story, but don't forget, we have a guardian angel. Could be sitting right beside you now, or standing up, going back to your seat with you. Good on you. Thank you.